Teddy, it's a fascinating story of your journey inside his home and just spending time with him. Just tell us what it was like. What was your big impression?
It was surreal, Andrew. You know, it's not every day that you get to be up close with, you know, the alleged fraudster of one of the greatest criminal conspiracies ever. Ultimately, look, this is a human being. That's how I approached the interview, which is I'm trying to capture a person at obviously the most high-stakes moment of their life, which is a treat as any reporter, right? You know, we often deal with people during the, you know, most intense experiences of humankind, and you know that's a treat. It's like we're talking about when you watch C-SPAN, right? You're seeing people at their most raw, emotional, unguarded moments. Ultimately, it was just a guy talking to a guy in a house to some extent, but obviously, you know, you don't see this every day. You didn't see Elizabeth Holmes or Bernie Madoff, or frankly, people who have much lower grade controversies talk for hours about their experience.
What do you think explains that, Teddy? Because obviously, Sam has been more willing to speak. I don't know if you think it's strategic. I don't know if you think it's something else. What do you crack up to be?
I think everybody wants to talk fundamentally, right? And we as reporters get to be a fly on the wall, and sometimes the incentives align where they want to talk, and you know there's a therapy element to it. But look, I mean, ultimately, he believes the crisis comms playbook that we've seen over the last century is too conservative. People are too focused on winning a legal fight, you know, a year or a decade down the line, and are willing to sacrifice losing the public relations war in the intervening months and years. So I think that is the strategy, if there is one, Andrew, is this belief that, hey, you know, maybe the lawyers are wrong.
What was your biggest lesson in this? Was there something that I read the piece. I literally probably read 3 or 4 times, and there were lots of wonderful little nuggets in there. But is there one that you'd point to?
You know, I was humored by the arrival of a 75-pound German Shepherd, a guard dog that was shown up. Basically, Sam seemed totally unaware of how this dog had gotten there. His parents basically dropped it off for security. Sam told me that someone tried to break into their house or make a citizen's arrest of Sam Bankman-Fried, seemingly unaware, not a squawk watcher, not observant of the fact that Sam obviously has been arrested plenty over the last couple of weeks. Ultimately, there's sort of like a paranoia that I don't necessarily think is unfounded, but you know, Sam and his family are very concerned about security at this point, just given his profile.
I want to get back to the German Shepherd, Teddy. What
Sure.
Big, long hair, short hair, a lot of black and brown coloring, light color. You didn't see it? What's the name?
I saw it. Didn't bring out the ruler to measure the hair length, but the dog's name is Sandor. I am Hungarian
cool.
by ethnicity, so Hungarian. That's derived from defender of men.
Oh my God, that's a great
Sam
idea.
Obviously,
Sandor? I like that.
Teddy, I think one of the biggest questions people have is, does he have any money? Do you believe that he has any money left? Do you believe his parents have money left, both to support his own legal defense and potentially to pay back creditors and others if, in fact, whether he's found guilty or not, frankly?
Right. I mean, look, obviously, Sam is not going to have as much money to defend himself as he would have had, 6 months ago. Sam has said that he does not have some secret stash of cash available. Obviously, the DOJ is trying to repossess his stake in Robinhood, which suggests that there's not some, secret war chest that Sandor has buried under the backyard out there. I don't believe he has any money left over. He said he's down to a credit card or two. Obviously, they have this $4 million house, which sounds like a lot, but, for folks out here in the Bay Area, it's not actually that much. Ultimately, all he has left is the house. He has the house, the family in the house. That's it.